amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace hath brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome everyone here. And I know it's a difficult time, and I hate to even say welcome. But Mary Rogers would have wanted that. She didn't want anybody crying. She wanted to have a celebration, is what she wanted to have. And if she could have made a whole production out of it, she would have. Theater was her life. Her family was her life. Her friends were her life. And I am honored to be standing here today. When she had asked me, she said, I want you to assist in leading my funeral. And I said, Mary, I will sing, but I don't know if I can. She said, yes, you can, and you're going to. And as the director, I said, yes, ma'am, I will do that. But it is an honor to be here. She was a wonderful friend. I've known Mary for probably close to 15 years now, and I know a lot of you have known her for even longer. But I consider that 15 years a blessing that I've gotten to know her and gotten to know her family as well. Dear Father, we come to you this afternoon. We thank you for the many blessings that you offer, the life that you give and the life that you take away. Dear Father, we know that Mary has struggled the last few years fighting this terrible cancer, us not knowing why she was having to go through this, us having a hard time dealing with everything that she was having to experience. But Father, even in the worst of times, we know that you're there beside us. When we feel that you're not around, you're not hearing our prayers, you're not listening, we always have to understand and know that you're holding our hand and you're walking right there beside us. And I'm thankful today that Mary's in your presence, walking right there beside you today. Dear Father, we know that Mary loved being here. She loved her family. She loved her children and her friends, and especially her theater. She loved her stage. And dear Father, we know that she has found that stage in heaven today. And I know she's recruiting heavily for her next show. But I think most of all, we know that Mary is defying gravity today.
It's the wizard who should be afraid of me. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and sleep. It's time to try defying gravity. I think I'll try defying gravity, and you can't pull me down. Quick, get on. What? Come with me. Think of what we could do together. Unlimited. Together we're unlimited. Together we'll be the greatest team there's ever been. Glenna dreams the way we planned them. If we work in tandem, there's no fight we cannot win. Just you and I defying gravity. With you and I defying gravity. They'll never bring us down. Well, are you coming? Sophie, you're trembling. I hope you're happy now that you're choosing this. Me too. I hope it brings you bliss. I really hope you get it, and you don't live to regret it. I hope you're happy in the end. I hope you're happy, my friend.
Don't let her get away!
Wait, what are you doing? Let go of me, do you hear? It's not her. She has nothing to do with it. I'm the one you want. It's me. Help me. It's me. So if you care to find me, look to the western sky. As someone told me lately, everyone deserves a chance to fly. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. To those who ground me, take a message back from me. Tell them how I am defying gravity. I'm flying high and defying gravity. And soon I'll match them in renown. And nobody in all of Oz, no wizard that there is or was, is ever gonna bring me
I'll be reading from the 23rd Psalm this afternoon. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Let's stand together this afternoon as we sing, "Great is thy faithfulness." You'll find the words in your program this afternoon. Great is thy faithfulness, O God my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever wilt be. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Summer and winter and springtime and harvest, sun, moon, and stars in their courses above, join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy, and love. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Pardon for sin and a peace that endureth, thine own dear presence to cheer and to guide, strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow, blessings all mine with 10,000 beside. Great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Can you hear me? All right. I was honored to be asked by none other than Mary herself to participate in her funeral today. I had no hesitation in taking this on because that's what she would have done for me. She was that kind of friend. I met Mary through my daughter Meredith and John Haddock's first date. That first date was a stop by to our home, not only by Mary, but her mother Nan to see Meredith and John Haddock in their tuxedo and gown. Both were gushing on how beautiful Meredith looked and what a handsome couple they were. As you will see, they are still hanging out, and that was 4 years ago. Amazing when I think of how fast these years have gone by. Lucky for me, Mary was a big part of these 4 years, not only for me, but Meredith too. Unfortunately, even the beginning days of our friendship included Mary being concerned over, what the heck does this horrible ovarian cancer mean for the days ahead? She prayed for many years to come, but knew God was in control. Never one to give up, she lived like she meant it, even through the worsening conditions as time went on. My earliest memories are of watching Mary at those high school basketball games, in the stands cheering for John Haddock through his highs and lows during the basketball season. Mind you, her hair wasn't perfectly styled, as she was growing in new hair from that horrible taxol. Proudly supporting him and even embarrassing him with a t-shirt that said John Haddock's mom. Isn't he player of the week again, she asked me on many occasions. Unfortunately, John Haddock's college days haven't been giving him a lot of court time yet. Mary Haddock Rogers let me know, you better not let that boy down when I'm gone. Now that he's playing, please sure he has fans there. To our amazement, he even decided to show up the day of Mary's passing for his first game of the season. It was wonderful for my family and his to watch him play. He even scored a basket. He had the loudest cheering section of any team member on either team. I know his mom was the loudest in heaven, along with the rest of your family in spirit. Mary discussed with me her concerns about him being the youngest and how the heck he's going to get through this tough time. I think this god-awful disease has shown this tough guy right here. He can learn to show up and be supported by his wonderful friends and family who adore you. John Haddock, the Christ in you knows where Mary is. And you know one day you will go home and tell her, I'm here, Mom. Until you meet again, she'll be your biggest fan and angel in heaven. For that, I'm sure. Then there's Walton. Walton Angel, I've heard a few times. I mentioned to Mary one day, do his assets compare to Mr. Basketball over here? To which she replied, that son of mine is kind and comforting to this tired old mom who feels horrible at home on my sick days. He knows just what to ask me and tends to my boo-boos just like I need. Walton was there with her for a period of time while Arden worked and John Haddock was at school. I myself saw you, Walton, help your mother at her lowest, and you were more to help to her than I think you really understood. Not just physically, but you kept her spirits up with the love you showed her at her lowest. And now that you mention it, Mary and others have mentioned that golf swing might be something you should keep up to. There's potential there, I hear. Walton even had a date that Mary set up because she happens to think you're the best kept secret ever. We're curious to see who the lucky girl is. High standards are your way. We're still waiting. Then there's beautiful Arden, or is it Cinderella? Never in my wildest dreams would I have envisioned this wedding fever that even included Arden every now and then. Did I get invited? Oh yeah, I did. I even got to hold Mary's hand through all of the planning and execution of the entire wedding. What a night. Can you say high hands in the air? Maybe it was that YMCA dance group on the stage. Or was it that dashing gentleman, Chris, who swept Arden off her feet and dipped his new bride as those two danced to the theme song from Cinderella? Wonder who wrote that play. But boy, did we have a great time boogieing and watching what only Mary and Arden could throw together at the last minute. Or maybe it was a year. Or maybe it was 5. I'm not sure. But it was truly an amazing day. Mary had her concerns that she would be miserable and not able to walk around during the wedding and talk and enjoy the festivities, for obvious reasons with her cancer. Luckily, for the most part, she found that burst of energy, and we all enjoyed a great, incredible day and evening. The cherry on top of this beautiful day, though my feet were throbbing by this time, was seeing Mary hop out of her chair, as Bri and Mary and I were sitting at this after party at about 12:30 a.m. as the lyrics of Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy started to play. I did not know she loved that crazy song. I'll tell you what, she wore us out that day. Arden, I watched you and your mother have a wonderful relationship these 4 years, and it was beautiful to see how she adored you. She spoke of what a wonderful caretaker you were for Nan and then for her as well. She truly went on and on about all three of you, as a matter of fact. The love she felt for all of you. No one came between Mary and her kids, unless you were Chris. And that guy was, in her mind, a prize egg. Mary was pleased to invest in a guy like Chris with Nan's gorgeous engagement ring for whenever he felt the moment was right to pop the question. And we all waited. Tension was in the air. And finally, the happy day came. She was thrilled you became part of this family and watched you honor your words to be the best husband you could be. I saw the comfort it gave her, knowing Arden had found you and was so happy for you two together. And did you know there were these 4 women who kind of liked each other? Their names are Mary Haddock Rogers, and that Drew side comes out every now and then. The others are Bri Hobbs, Crystal Gilstrap, and yours truly, Jean Kidd. We 4 had our fun days, watching that lady worry and have fun at the same time. Crying and laughing was the way it was, unfortunately, through our time together. We will always remember the special times, many of which we had on her porch and around her dinner table. On some of these occasions, Mary would have to leave the fun momentarily due to her side effects. Amazingly, she oftentimes apologized to us during these times when all we saw was our friend suffering, yet keeping us company when she really wasn't feeling like her best self. As a matter of fact, that concern for her friends and family is the overarching feeling that she leaves me with. I was chatting with Crystal a few days back about writing what I wanted to say today, and without my saying it first, Crystal said she just cared so much about us when she was the one that had the horrible situation. Her legacy of caring and love makes us all better for her being in our lives. Crystal also mentioned in the same conversation what a sweet message she remembered Mary writing for John Haddock's senior page in his Hannah yearbook. So that gave me the idea to read it myself and research what she had written for Arden and Walton's as well. In Mary fashion, she wrote words of love and encouragement. These sentiments are from both your parents, but I know Mary's spirit is in these words, and so I'm going to go over what she wrote to the 3 of you. First is John Haddock's. I went on a trip to Italy with your Nana long ago. I missed your brother and sister so much I knew I wanted more. In bold words, she wrote, and oh, are you ever so much more. You have grown literally and figuratively into such an amazing young man in every way. At 6'7" and a half, it could have been that people would know you only for your height in basketball. But people also know you as a reliable, responsible, loyal, kind, and a great friend. To your family, you are a wonderful grandson, brother, and son who fills our hearts with pride and joy, in bold, on and off the court. Your world is waiting now. It's the tip-off. Get out there and give it all you got. I love you, Azaboo. And Walton's. Walton Angel, you are here at this enormous crossroad of your life. What road will you choose and where will it take you? You are here so all growed up, so big, so strong and handsome with that wink and a smile. You are here, 18 years of memories and milestones, each year full of life, laughs, tears, and some fears. You are here, charm and sense of humor in abundance. You are here, look at these pictures and reflect on your wonderful life thus far, and your family that is so proud. We all love you with all we have. We are so proud of who you are and are yet to be, and that's my point. Look at one picture in particular. Because of God's blessing, care, and grace, on July 26, 2013 at 7 p.m., God said that, yes, Walton, angel, you will remain an angel on earth a while longer. You will be a senior with a senior page for your mama to write these 3 words on. You are here. And last, Ardens. Baby girl, as you're reading this, your wings are getting ready to soar over the rainbow into your whole new world. You will need to climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow till you find your dream. Everyone deserves a chance to fly, so don't let anything or anyone stop you. Always be extraordinary, not ordinary. Always defy gravity. Remember, nobody in all of Oz, no wizard that there is or was, is ever going to bring you down. And my love, above all else, always know there's no place like home. We are all so proud of who you have been, who you are, and who you are yet to become. So fly and soar, baby girl. We are the wind beneath your wings. These words seem appropriate for what she would want to tell you all today on how to move forward with your lives, knowing her love and admiration are there for all of you. My ending words today are a poem written by Donna Ashworth. These words can help all of us, but especially to her children. I hope these words will leave you with the peace of Mary living with you in a new way until you meet her again in heaven. When I go, don't learn to live without me. Just learn to live with my love in a new way, a different way. And if you need to see me, close your eyes or look in your shadow. When the sun shines, I'm there. Sit with me in the quiet, and you will know that I didn't leave. There is no leaving when a soul is blended with another. When I go, don't learn to live without me. Just learn to look for me in the moments. I will be there.
I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a river. I've got joy like a river. I've got joy like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a river. I've got joy like a river. I've got joy like a river in my soul. I've got love like a river. I've got love like a river. I've got love like a river in my soul. I've got love like a river. I've got love like a river. I've got love like a river in my soul.
Let me first share from a psalm. They see the works of the Lord and his wonders in the deep. He calms the storm so that its waves are still. Then they are glad because they are quiet. So he guides them to their desired haven. We have been witnesses to the work of love, and we have witnessed how love brings light in the darkness. Two people could not be more different in personality than Mary and I, but ever the director, she chose me first to care for her kids when they were young, then as a friend, and finally she declared me as family. She was a gifted teacher, and she had a lot to teach me. I sent Walton a text this past Monday, and it said, "Your mom's love for you three has been monumental and inspirational. And she taught me much about how to be a great mom through her unwavering support and pride in each of you." She had a gift for letting people know how much she loved them and appreciated them. And Mary was determined to be a wonderful mother and so longed to be a wonderful Nana because, as she told me in those first scary days after a cancer diagnosis, I had the best parents and my kids had the best grandparents. And so I need to be the best Nana to their kids. We prayed for more time, but it didn't go the way we wanted. But during the time she had, she took as many opportunities as she could to celebrate big and small things and to keep being a mama to her children without smothering them, as many would have been tempted to do in her situation. Knowing her time was limited on this earth, she wished for them to still pursue all their passions and live their lives guilt-free. I am certain that wish has not changed. Arden and John Haddock and Walton, you have suffered an incredible loss because you had an incredible mother and friend. My job as your mom's best friend is not to make this loss easier. Nobody can do that. My job is to talk to you about your mom, listen, and to share memories, and not only the good memories. Nobody wants to hear about a sainted, squeaky clean Mary. Has anyone ever seen Mary get angry? It's not pretty, but it happens. Some true stories. Mary is my friend who realized one night I was staying late to chart after a long day, so she drove up to the office and pulled up to the curb with a Toda. She's also the friend who I brought homemade soup to and right in front of my face, tasted it and spit it out, told me it was too spicy and to take it home. She's also the friend who drove up unannounced to take down my Christmas tree when one of my sons was in the hospital unexpectedly at Christmas. I promise you, Arden and Walton and John Haddock, that as long as you live and let me, I'll talk to you about your mom. I'll text you or call you with a memory. I will pray for you. I will advise you in the way I think your mom would tell you if you'd let me. And I will always, always remind you that wherever she is, she loves you. Because that love never goes away. And your mom is probably watching you right now because there's no way she would ever leave you. Being up here to speak on behalf of Mary Drew Rogers is not fair. No one else can bring the flair of her delivery. Still, I'm humbled and honored to share this letter to Mary, from Mary to her children. My dearest children, you are the most incredible beings on the planet. To those here who don't know, Arden took leave of her job in June to be my main caregiver. Just knowing she is near has given such a peace. And 1 year ago today, she married Chris. the most wonderful, understanding man, a true gift from God. Thank you for being the man she deserves, Chris. And Walton, he's my middle son. He's doing amazing things in Charleston, working. He's my champion. He has been with me and a faithful caregiver all this time. So has John Haddock, my youngest. He is at North Greenville University playing basketball. He has grown into a kind, empathetic young man, just like his brother. All three have given so much of themselves in these last years to care for me when it was the last thing I wanted them to have to do. Now, I know the power of a story, a truly good story, like Hello Dolly, Poldark. Well, you three are my favorite story, my true story, one that started before you arrived and one to be continued. This is not the end of our family story. I gave all of you all I had of me and life, and you'll carry it with you into all your lives. Do you remember just hours before Nana died, Pastor Hunt prayed at her bedside with all of us. He said, "Thank you, Nan, for always telling us how you felt or what you thought." Well, I'm happy to say the apple did not fall far from the tree. And even when you didn't want to hear what my opinion was, you're welcome. We have amazing memories together, I made sure. I love a surprise, something or anything to make you remember an occasion. An occasion was just us being together, but preferably with a boat or a lake or an ocean, even a parasail, and maybe a near-death experience involved. An occasion could even be a fire pit on our back porch. It could be a football game, a PBS show, a movie, a song, and dancing. So many occasions for you to remember. Photo albums, photo collages, posters, surprises like the riddle to know whose Christmas present is whose on Christmas morning. The only way I could possibly leave this world for the next was to know that you three were just fine. I told Bri it's not okay that I couldn't hold my grandbabies, but it would be enough for me to go on knowing my kids are wonderful and that they love each other and that they will be there for each other and have a beautiful future. You know, I wanted to record myself reading to the grandbabies to come, but I know that you will do that with almost as much animation as I would have in my honor and memory. I had planned to pack a pink and blue suitcase for the grandkids to have ready for an occasion. Regardless, I know you will show them the world as you have been given the world. You will teach them about Nana and Pop, about great music, wonderful Broadway shows, classic black and white movies, and you will teach them the importance of handwritten thank you notes and dancing, especially dancing to Disco Inferno, YMCA, and Save a Horse, when they're ready. In the meantime, and forever, you will have fun as you remember the days we laughed and had fun. To John Haddock, you've become a man in these last 5 years, one I adore to behold. As you looked at colleges, I didn't care what they said about how great you were on the court. I cared that the coaches all said the most important things to me about you were that you showed strong character as well as talent. You demonstrated hard work and teamwork. And your job is now to keep being the young man your Pop and Nana and I are so proud of. And take care of the young lady, Meredith, that you love. Your hard work and efforts in the face of any odds are matched only by your tender heart. And that tender, loving heart is your real strength. Walton Angel, you light up a room. You bring life to any group with your laughter and fun, and that heart of yours is so big and so loyal and loves so cheerfully. You can charm the socks off anyone fortunate enough to meet you, and you have always been more than a son, a fellow adventurer. and a friend. Remember Colorado and Nantucket and riding shotgun on a golf cart? Our times together were pure delight because you are purely delightful. To see you more and more, the amazing young man that came into being while I had the privilege of watching, has made life worth living. And you are not done yet. Your charm and charisma are matched only by your tender, loving heart. And Arden, my baby girl, you are my person. And now you are Chris's person forever, as it should be. Having you near me these last months and weeks has been the greatest comfort and gift and peace. You came into my life, and by being you, showed me that dreams really do come true. Whether you were dressed up at home or on stage, your beauty inside and out has always taken my breath away. And your brain has always challenged me. You can do anything. You have shown what you are made of, and you can do anything. Your fierce determination is matched only by your tender, loving heart. I cannot tell you three enough that it has been my privilege to be your mother. If you wonder if I'm with you, I will be. In your smiles, in your kindness, in your thoughtfulness, in your laughter and in your tears, in every Christmas light and any and every holiday decoration for that matter. I will be where your memories and your dreams come together. I will be there as you sing to your children or walk with them on a beach, knowing that that love has come full circle from Nan and Pop to me and to you and yours. And I will be with you until each of you sneak up on me in heaven, and I'll do the ugly, happy, boo-hoo crying, and I'll say, you're mine, forever. I was never more blessed by God to be there when each of you took your very first breaths, until I was so blessed to have each of you there at mine for my last. I love you, and I love you, Mama.
Take me to whatever I know. I learn from you. Whatever I do, you taught me to do. I am your child, and I am your chance. Whatever will come from me. Tomorrow is won by winning me. Whatever I am, you taught me to be. I am your hope, I am your chance, I am your child. tomorrow is won by winning me. Whatever I am, you taught me to be. I am your hope, I am your chance, I am your child. Whatever I am, you taught me to be. I am your hope, I am your chance, I am your child.
First of all, I just want to thank everyone for coming out. I know it means a lot to all of us, and my mom, even if you guys didn't get to meet my mom, if you're here, then that means she loved you. Many people came to know my mom after her diagnosis about 4.5 years ago, and many people never got to meet her or know her before all of it. She was a director, theater teacher, daughter, and a mom, and much, much more. She did wonders for me, my brother, and my sister, and everyone else who was around her. She was my biggest fan at all my basketball games, and as previously mentioned, made it a top priority to get Mary Rogers' Child or John Haddock's mom printed on all her shirts. And also let everyone know in the crowd whenever I did anything remotely good that that's my son, that's my son. But even after her diagnosis and as things began to progress over the years, she was still the same mom. She was still my biggest fan and the most selfless person I have ever known. Even when times were darkest and she was feeling the worst, she always wanted to make sure the people she loved the most were okay. She would always ask us, "You all right?" Or, "You want to go take a nap?" Because that was the best medicine, according to her. Because that's just the kind of person she was. I've had a lot of growing up to do in the past couple of years, and it's been hard, but I always look to put myself in her shoes, and it doesn't compare to the things that she has endured. And I'm not a very prideful person, but I am proud of one thing, and I'm proud to be Mary Rogers' child. Thank you.
I also just wanted to start by thanking everyone so much for being here today. We've had family and friends show up from everywhere, and it truly means everything to me, Arden, and John Haddock, and Chris, and everybody. We have felt all the love and prayers that have been sent our way this week, and I feel them in the moments where we get distracted and become busy with everyday menial tasks, and I find just a moment of distraction from everything. So but we have so much to be thankful for because of our mom. The entire family that we come from and that we're a part of is the biggest blessing that we have. And Mom always made sure we knew that. She made sure we were comfortable doing the uncomfortable, never afraid to take advantage of new opportunities that come our way, like leaving for summer camps, acting on stage in her shows, in her classes, and leaving town for school after high school. You know, she made sure that she proved that doing the right thing, and the right thing to do is not always the easiest thing to do. And that anything that was worth doing is worth doing right. And do it that same day is still one that I'm still working on that, the procrastination. But between her 20 years of teaching school and directing at the Project Challenge Playhouse, she's taught and mentored almost 1,000 students, and she's made a lasting impact on every one of them. It's been so great hearing people's memories and their favorite stories from their classes with her backstage at Project Challenge. She loved her students like a piece of herself and wanted to see each of them achieve their dreams. So I want to thank my family and those that have been closest to us in the past couple of years. They've been the hardest of our lives. Chris, Arden's husband, has been so loving and caring and patient with our family for the past 3 years. Many plans changing and being canceled last minute and shifts around. He's stuck by Arden and all of us, and we were very fortunate. Bry Hoggs, Dr. Hobbs, has been my mom's closest friend for over 15 years and has stuck by her side this entire journey. I want to thank Meredith Kidd for being there for John Haddock for the last 4 years now. We've been lucky to share plenty of great times with her and her mother, Jean Kidd, who's also been an extremely important part of my mom's life ever since John Haddock and Meredith met. Mom was so thrilled to have all of y'all around us and make those special memories at the lake and each other's houses, and just getting to hang out with all of y'all. And all the Rogers that came into town and showed up have just been so amazing. So thank you all so much for being there for my mom and being with us here now. We have a lot of great people looking out for us, and we're assured that we'll be okay one day soon. So I just want to acknowledge one more time how blessed I am for the life that she provided for me for 26 years, and there's no words to accurately describe how much we're going to miss her, and it still doesn't feel real all the time. But I wouldn't be anywhere close to where I am or who I am without you, Mom, and that's certain. So you and Nana and Pop just keep guiding Arden, John Haddock, and myself until we see you again soon, Mom. We love you.
As many of you know, Mom walked me down the aisle a year ago today. I'd like to think that was one of the happiest days of her life. I'm sure it comes as no surprise that her toast was a standard Mary Rogers production, complete with 3 musical numbers, much like the final Mary Rogers production that you are all a part of today. I'd be lying if I said there weren't moments when I wondered how much longer it would go on and when the band can start playing so we can all get up and dance. But in retrospect, I savor every minute. She understood that to know ourselves is to honor our past and the ones who came before us. She wanted everyone in that room to know that although we were there celebrating a new beginning for Chris and me, we were also celebrating the lives of the legacies that built us. The legacy of her parents, Pop and Nana, who raised her and embraced her passions and let Mary Girl be Mary Girl. Their enduring love for each other and their children was the foundation that mine and my brother's lives were built on. We owe them everything for giving her to us. What does defying gravity mean to me? In the context of the show, it's Elphaba choosing her own path instead of blindly following people and institutions she didn't believe in. I think it also applies to a young girl in a small southern town that at the time didn't have much appreciation for the arts, who believed she was worthy of chasing a dream. Mom came alive on stage. From her first play at Camp Greystone at age 10, hearing applause for the first time, she was hooked. Something about performing felt innate to her, and she was free to be all that she was, even encouraged to be more. A letter from an old theater professor ended with, "Keep shining, you old light bulb," and that's exactly how I describe her effervescent charm. Mom always let her light shine and had the true gift of an artist, bringing out the light in others. Those lucky enough to be taught or directed by her left the stage a more confident, extraordinary human, because this extraordinary woman taught them to defy gravity. Defying gravity also means listening to your heart when those dreams change. Chris and the boys and I have spent a lot of time this week watching old home videos spanning from December 93 to December 2003. And I must say, that was her most impressive role. I saw a quote from a study this morning that looked at thousands of new mothers and how they related to their infants. Most related very well, some had a harder time, and some were extra doting and coddling with their infants. They looked at those adults 35 years later, and the people that were the most independent and successful and self-actualized were the ones who were super loved by their mothers. And the timing of this is so fitting for me because I've been thinking all week how lucky we were to be so ensconced in her love. How my earliest memory is really just a feeling of absolute love and safety, and that feeling has her face and sounds like her voice and her charm bracelet and smells like her Laura Ashley perfume. And it never really goes away with age. You just realize eventually that there's nowhere on earth that brings you that subconscious peace quite like your mother's presence. But if you're lucky, you marry someone who makes your heart feel similar. You think you know how much your mom loves you. You may even acknowledge that you'll never know the depth of that love. But this footage proves that we are hopelessly clueless to the magnitude of that unconditional love. That sustaining, literally life-giving love. Love that keeps no record of wrongs, and oh, how many wrongs there are. A self-sacrificing love that permeates every fiber of your being that you have done nothing to deserve. Her joy became a byproduct of our own, and it's obvious to anyone with eyes that my brothers and I were her entire world. Mom defied gravity every single day these last 4 years by going to war against this disease that slowly ravages the body just for a little more time. This summer, and especially the last few weeks, I will admit I struggled with trusting God. As life got progressively harder for her, I felt so helpless and scared, not just for her, but for me. How could I truly say I trust in the Lord when I so feared the inevitable? I was talking to Bri about this a few weeks ago, and she, with her loving wisdom, suggested replacing God with love to make it more digestible. Trust and love with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all ways acknowledge love, and love will direct your path. And that did it. Because while I may doubt God, I will never doubt my mom's love. And that is ultimately what defying gravity means to me. When I don't know how to even take the next step, to fly instead. Not on a broomstick, but into the arms of the Father, to trust that this great love that has carried me my entire life is not lost, but within me, within my brothers. To allow that love to carry me back to God and the source of all hope and goodness, despite my inability to see past my own pain. I know Mom would want us to rejoice that she's well, fully restored, with her beloved parents, directing the angel choir with vigor. But the ache of a life ended too soon, and the desire for her to be a part of our futures is immense. And I don't know how to end this. It feels unfinished, but I think that's appropriate. Mary Ardella Drew Rogers, you went out at the 11th hour like the star you are. Thank you isn't enough. If I am half the mother you were to us, your grandchildren will be just fine. I love you, Drama Mama.
Act 3. Mary would say, it's time to stop crying because you know where I am. The very first time I met Mary Rogers was, of course, on stage. 16 years ago, I came to Anderson. I was an assistant principal, Calhoun Academy of the Arts. I was so excited. My background, instrumental music, choral music, church music, theater. I was the perfect fit to work alongside Ann Self at Calhoun Academy. At that time, little did I know about all the connections in Anderson and the people had to one another. There was a lot of connections there. After having been at Calhoun for about a year, I was approached by a man named Rick Mascaro about a play, and he wanted me to play the part of the Herald for the performance of Cinderella. At the local community theater that he was directing at the time, being new to Calhoun, I was a little hesitant due to the time commitment, but of course he assured me my part was small, wouldn't take much time. But I'm sure if you've had any experience in theater, you absolutely know that was a tiny white lie that he told. Since I knew very few people in Anderson showing up for the first rehearsal, I was really kind of nervous. I wanted to show them that I actually knew I could sing and act. Of course, dancing was a whole different story. Cue stage left. That's where I first met Mary Rogers, playing the part of stepmother to Cinderella. During the first few rehearsals, I knew she was sizing me up to see what I was capable of because she didn't know who I was or if I could do anything on stage. If she was going to be a part of a show, she was going to make sure everyone on that stage shined like a star. My part was relatively small, and since I had acted before, I really thought I wouldn't have too much work to do. That thought process all went out the window when Mary stepped foot on the stage because you immediately knew where the energy was and who was in charge, and it wasn't the director. The confidence, flamboyance, energy was unmatched in anything I'd seen before, and I knew in that moment I was working with someone who took her craft very seriously. That I'd better not slack off for one moment because she would be the first one to know it and tell me about it. In other words, I was slightly intimidated. As the show progressed, I watched Mary work with kids to improve their presence on stage, their vocal projection, and of course, jump all over them when they didn't have their lines memorized the way she thought they should. Halfway through rehearsals, we found out the person playing the part of the prince was not going to be available for one of the shows, so I was confronted by Rick and Mary about learning the part as an understudy for that one show. My answer was no. But you know Mary, if you know her at all, taking no as an answer was not really in her vocabulary. I finally agreed. Mary took me under her wing to really teach me about what theater was all about. From memorizing lines to facial reactions, dealing with Rick when he forgot his line and everything had to be made up from there on out, to rolling her eyes watching me try to dance. She was there every step of the way to make sure the show turned out to be wonderful. Of course, over the next few years, I'd go on to work at First Baptist Church in the music ministry, not realizing at first that Mary's whole family attended church there. Through singing in the choir, I got to know her mom, Nan Drew, and her brother, Sam Drew, really well. Her dad and her children attended with her as well. I did try to get her to sing in the choir, but I don't think it was quite theatrical enough for her. I'm sure if we decided to have some type of Christmas play, Mary would have been at the helm, making sure everything was perfect. Fast forward 8 years, I was approached by the school superintendent to go to Southwood Academy to work as a new principal. Of course, that was one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make. As I began my principalship at Southwood, I realized Mary was over the theatrical program there, teaching 7th grade, 8th grade, and high school classes. Throughout that first year, Mary again took me under her wing and somehow made me believe that I could lead the school as a new principal, even though I felt completely otherwise. My second there year, she approached me about wanting to do a large musical that would be held at Calhoun Academy. Of course, my first thought was no, but as you know, Mary was not good at taking no for an answer. So we got together with other teacher Drew Dickey, who had some theatrical experience and technical skills. We decided to help Mary with this show. So she laid out exactly what she wanted. She wanted it to look like. She wanted to know this is the set that she wanted built. She was very diligent in how she recruited and worked with students to make sure they were ready for the stage. We had kids from 2nd grade all the way up through seniors in high school. I got to watch her work with each one of them at their level, make them the best that they could be. Both of my daughters were in the show, and so my role became more of dad than principal. As one of the fathers of the play, she wanted Drew, Honeycutt, and myself to build one of the largest sets I think I've ever seen in my life. I really thought she was crazy at one point, first wanting something that large that was not even, I didn't think it was possible to build. But again, taking no for an answer was not a strong suit for her. So we got together to plan and build, and I quickly realized that Honeycutt had spent most of his time in construction, which Mary already knew that. That's the reason she had asked him. Of course, all I had to do was be the assistant. We ended up building the set, had a bridge, had stairs, ramps, colors galore. And no matter when we thought we were finished with it, Mary always had something to add or change, or can you tear all of that down and rebuild it again? Between Honeycutt taking charge of the construction, me over sound, Drew over lighting, Mary knew she had picked the right people to make sure her show was going to be a success. I'm here to say that all the students involved in that show realized what it was like to catch the theater bug, because they got to be part of something that was so great and hear applause from the crowd. This is exactly what she wanted them to experience. It was the thrill of learning that could not be emulated inside of a classroom. Mary was very interesting to watch behind stage. If you've never seen her backstage, it was a whole different Mary. She was well put together out front, but you put her backstage before a show, she was a wreck. I remember before we started Seussical, she was pacing in the back and forth, pacing back and forth. I'm like, would you calm down, please? And she was like, but there are not enough people here. There are not enough people. I said, it's going to be fine. Before the show started, the crowds came in. It's just like, do you think they're going to like the show? I said, they're going to love the show. She was always very worried about how things were going to turn out. By the end of the show, she was a happy camper because her kids always came through. I worked with Mary for close to 6 years in her capacity as a teacher at the school. For her, I became known as boss. I was boss, so wherever I'd see her in the hallway, in her classroom stage, it was always, hey, boss, I got an idea. The love for her students in theater surpassed the dedication of many teachers. She wanted to make sure her students had the same passion for theater that she did for so many years. I can recall student after student after student who said that Miss Rogers and her leadership in the classroom and through the shows is what created the passion for them on the stage. When Mary was first diagnosed with cancer, I told her that the Southwood family would help her work through this and cover for her when she was out. We would take over projects and shows to make sure her students still had the best when it came to stage productions. As good as some of the shows were, it was never quite the Mary Flair. One of the hardest decisions came right before school shut down for COVID. Mary and the chorus teacher had planned a production in the brand new theater at Southwood that would showcase highlights from Mary Poppins. Mary and I had a long talk about how she needed to focus on her health and possibly give up her lifelong passion and focus more on getting better and spending time with her family. Her decision to leave the classroom and her students was probably one of the most difficult decisions she had to make, because she loved what she did and who she worked with. And I know some of her students are sitting back there right now. Theater was her entire life, and giving that up was like losing a piece of herself. But she found a way to still stay involved. I know I heard somebody talk about how much Mary loved the water and loved the boat. When she found out I had a boat, she always said how much she would enjoy going out. We had the opportunity to go out a few times over the last few years. Of course, she would text and say the water was calling her name. And, of course, I knew that was her way of saying, hey, let's get the boat out. I want to go for a ride. And, of course, I knew she wouldn't take no for an answer. This past summer, she contacted me saying that she would love to get on that boat one more time and asked if it was okay for her kids to come. Now, of course, I told her, yeah, that would be great. We planned for a full day on the water with lunch on the boat, her 3 kids, Walton, Arden, John Haddock. Knowing how much she adored her children, I really looked forward to having them there all together. The day started off a little rough because physically it was difficult for her to get down to the boat and get in. But once we were on the water, she lit up like a Christmas tree. She enjoyed riding around Lake Hartwell for the entire day. I even pulled out the towable. We put all 3, well, not at the same time, but we all put all 3 kids on the towable. And she just enjoyed watching them fly over the wave breaks and just having a great time. She smiled the whole time. As bad as she felt good that day. She enjoyed watching y'all have fun. It was almost like we'd been transported in time back to when her children were little. Afterward, Walton, Arden, and John Haddock got in the water. They swam and floated around and kind of caught up with each other for a little while, especially after working so hard to take care of their mom for so long. During this time, Mary and I had a chance to talk probably more than we ever had before. She went on to tell me how much she loved her children and how much that day had meant to her. Her long career, her students were definitely on her mind as well. We talked so much about that, what had happened in her life and things that had happened in mine, that I'll cherish it forever. However, the most important thing on her mind that day were her 3 children who meant the world to her, as you've heard from so many today. Being able to see Walton get his dream job, watching Arden get married to someone she actually liked, and seeing John Haddock play college basketball fulfilled all of her dreams. And I will say, if there was anything she would tell you today, it would be to see the world as your stage and make the most of it, never taking no for an answer.
Your neighbors and your friends, may all your days be happy with the joy that never ends. May peace and love surround you at Christmas time and all the whole year through. I'm looking out my window at the softly falling snow that dances in the early morning light. I got my guitar right before me, strumming a beautiful sound, watching it coming down all around. On the fields and the farms and the road to town, and I'm thinking up a letter that I'm writing in my head. A Christmas card to all the folks I love. Instead of letting the postman bring it, I decided I'd rather sing it, especially Christmas card to you and all your family. Your